You're looking at your left hand. Specifically, at your left pinky, you hold the tanto blade against it. Your oyabun, your boss, watches without expression. You chose this. No one forced you to join, but now you understand. In the Yakuza, your body isn't yours. It belongs to the family. This is Yubitsume, and this is just your first week. Osaka, you're 17, no father, school dropout, running errands for a chinpira who wears cheap suits and expensive confidence. You carry envelopes, deliver messages, wait outside bars, and learn fast that the men everyone fears usually speak the softest. One night, a kobu notices you. You're fast, quiet. You do not stare at blood. A week later, you are called upstairs in a restaurant. 2 cups of sake, one for you, one for the oyabun. By drinking from the same cup, you stop being a stray boy and become family. That word hits harder than the drink. For the first time in your life, somebody gives you rank, rules, and a seat in the room. You don't notice yet that a seat can also be a cage. Belonging has a price. As the lowest kobun, you are less than nothing until someone above you decides you are useful. You clean ashtrays, stand near doors, memorize faces, and learn the geometry of rank. Who bows first? Who speaks last? Who pours sake for whom? You never pour your own. The mythology says, the Yakuza protect the weak and live by honor. The reality is debt, fraud, drugs, extortion, and businesses that look legal until someone asks the wrong question. But the rituals matter. They make brutality feel like order. They make obedience feel like identity. They give frightened men a language to describe fear as duty. That is how systems like this survive, not by hiding what they are, but by dressing it in ceremony until it looks ancient and inevitable. Your work begins small, collecting overdue payments from gamblers, standing in pachinko back rooms until a manager remembers he owes for protection, walking through hostess bars where every smile is rented. Construction sites show you the real money. A permit gets delayed. A subcontractor changes his mind. A shipment arrives only after someone gets visited at home. Festivals bring another kind of work. Parking, vending rights, security, stall placement. Outsiders call it local influence. You learn the more honest word, territory. Everywhere you go, people try not to look afraid. That is how you know the fear is already working before you say a word. Enforcement is not wild rage. It is calibrated theater. Apply pressure. Do not leave marks that photograph badly. Break certainty before bone if possible. Break bone if necessary. One debtor hides in a karaoke room, promising he just needs another month. You close the door, put his hand flat on the table, and explain the terms again. When you leave, his fingers bend the wrong way. You feel nothing at first. That scares you less than what comes later. Because later, on the train home, you replay the sound in your head and feel something almost like pride. Violence is easier to fear when it disgusts you. It becomes dangerous when it starts to feel efficient. The older men notice the change before you do. They call you reliable. They mean you are becoming easier to use. Then come the tattoos, not all at once, piece by piece. Needles, ink, pain, healing, and more pain. Carp, waves, wind bars, a dragon's shoulder. In the mirror, it makes you look larger, older, more deliberate than you are. In public, it makes normal life smaller. Pools turn you away. Apartments get harder. Regular jobs drift further out of reach. The tattoos tell you that you are someone now. The world outside tells you that you are someone it does not want. That contradiction is how the family keeps you close. The deeper your identity sinks into the underworld, the narrower the doorway back becomes. Soon, even your own reflection starts to look less like a person making choices and more like a role being completed. Years pass in rituals and escalating proofs of obedience. You learn which bosses still believe in the old code and which ones quietly run fraud from clean offices. You learn that half the job is posture. A room with the right seating order can feel more dangerous than a knife. A cup poured in silence can settle a dispute faster than shouting. The old men talk about honor. The younger men talk about money and apps. One side worships legacy. The other worships efficiency. Both still expect you to bleed on command. Somewhere between them, you realize the family is shrinking, aging, and lying to itself about both. Nobody says that out loud. In places like this, truth is treated like disrespect. By 2025, the pressure is everywhere. There is less money, less status, more surveillance, and far less room for mistakes. Your syndicate starts discussing alliances that would have been unthinkable 10 years earlier. Then comes the new partnership, a Chinese triad operating in Kabukicho. You are assigned as liaison because you are useful, young enough to adapt, old enough to obey. The Chinese do not care about your code. They care about speed, profit, movement. You watch your Oyabun bow to a man he would once have had cut down for disrespect. In that moment, the old mythology cracks. The family never changed because it wanted to. It changed because survival was humiliating it in public. The old world is not being defeated with bullets. It is being replaced by a colder one that does not even pretend to believe in honor. A younger Kobun makes the mistake of saying the truth out loud. During a closed meeting, he says the family is becoming a subcontractor in its own city. Says men with full-body tattoos are bowing to men with spreadsheets. Nobody breathes for a second. Then your Oyabun looks at you. He does not need to say anything. After the meeting, you walk the younger man into an alley behind the building. He keeps talking as if explanation might still matter. It doesn't. When you finish, he cannot lift one arm properly and knows exactly why. The lesson is not just for him. The family can survive insult from the outside. It cannot survive truth from within. And you understand something else as you walk back inside. Every act of loyalty makes leaving harder. Then there is Yuki. You meet her in a quiet cafe in Shinjuku, the kind of place where cups touch saucers softly and nobody looks dangerous. She laughs before covering her mouth, like she's embarrassed to enjoy herself. She asks what you do. You say security logistics. It sounds close enough to true to survive the first date. 8 months later, she knows you disappear at strange hours, that your phone is never really off, that some men call before dawn and you always answer. She knows not to ask certain questions. She loves you anyway. With her, you can almost imagine leaving. A small apartment. Fewer lies. Sleeves long enough to hide your forearms. By ordinary standards, it is a pathetic dream. By yours, it is enormous. For the first time in years, the future stops looking like a corridor and starts looking like a door. Her name is Yuki. You've been seeing her for 8 months. She doesn't know everything about your work, but she knows enough. She loves you anyway. Your Oyabun calls you in. Intelligence suggests someone inside the family has been feeding information to the NPA, National Police Agency. The informant met with a contact at a cafe in Shinjuku. Your boss shows you the surveillance photo. It's Yuki. She's the daughter of a retired police detective. She was placed deliberately. Your Oyabun doesn't give orders in these situations. He doesn't have to. He just waits. And the sake cup sits between you on the table. You stare at the photo long enough for the edges to blur. Maybe she used you. Maybe she also loved you. That makes it worse. The cup between you is a reminder and a threat. Years ago, you drank from a cup like that to enter this life. Now another one sits in front of you while that life asks what exactly you are willing to cut away to stay inside it. The family knows something you only admit too late. By the time the code disgusts you, it has already replaced your alternatives. That is why men like you stay even after the fear becomes hatred. Not because they believe anymore, because they no longer know who they are without the cage. The facts do not soften the ending. The family gave you shape by taking pieces away. First your time, then your fear, then your name, then your hand. You thought rituals meant protection. You thought pain bought belonging. But if you stay long enough, whatever love you have left becomes one more debt somebody else gets to collect. And if you leave, the world outside is waiting with locked doors, empty accounts, and a long memory. So even your escape begins to resemble another sentence. That is the quiet genius of structures like this. They do not just trap your body. They make your future feel guilty for wanting to exist without them. You thought the family was loyalty without conditions. You thought the code meant something. But every code has a clause you don't read until it applies to you. And by then, you've already paid the price. Finger by finger, year by year.